I was not equipped to be a father when I became a father. You know, it was like I read all the books, thought I knew what I was doing, had all the training and programming from growing up. But when I hit reality, just like I think what Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Hello, hello.
What's up, fellas?
Hello, hello.
We're back behind the microphone, behind the camera, in the studio. Good to see you, Matt. Good
to see you again. Fresh off of a wonderful weekend with the greater P2P community, recovered dad community.
That's right. We had an excellent retreat. We survived the, I don't know if I'd call it snowpocalypse, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
2 feet of snow up there in Pennsylvania. I'm back here in South Carolina now, where it is a balmy. Let's see, what is it right now? Oh, it's a balmy 51 degrees.
You got it rough, man.
51 degrees. Although I did get my cold plunge down to 37.
Nice.
Today with the colder weather this morning. I jumped in the cold plunge tank after I did a 30-minute 5K. And, got to get back in the training runs after being out of town for a week, training for, I have a run coming up in March with some running friends of mine. So
nice.
Getting the reps in, reps in.
Yes, sir.
And today I got an interesting story, right? Got something interesting, kind of a story that happened just this morning, and tying it back in to when I was a young father, a father in the first year or two of being a father, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're out there listening, dad, out there in podcast land, you saw the title of this. I'm like, what does that mean, right? The curse of prior knowledge. Well, the curse of prior knowledge is it's the thing where part of what means. Sorry, I'm getting all tongue tied. Too much caffeine this afternoon. Let me pause. Let me practice the pause for a second. Curse of prior knowledge. All that means is you can't remember what it's like to not know something.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if you know how to tie your shoes, you can't think back to life before you knew how to tie your shoes. You just kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
Another term that I have found that we use around this topic, but we don't realize that that's what it is. Common sense. Common sense, right? It's like, how many times have you looked at your kids and thought, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Don't you have any common sense? When the reality is common sense is not common. It is learned. We just don't remember learning it. We don't remember what the process was to learn it, right? So think about where you live. Now, if you don't live in the U.S., this may not apply to you. But here in the U.S., we drive on the right side of the road. Some would say the correct side of the road, the right side of the road. But the entire world doesn't. But here in the U.S., it's like common sense. You drive on the right side of the road in your car. It just happens so subconsciously, so naturally, you don't even think there is another option, which is why it's very dangerous, very risky for U.S. drivers to rent a car, say, in England, because the subconscious is going to have you driving on the wrong side of the road, which is the right side of the road over there. You'll be driving into oncoming traffic because they drive on the left side. Driving on the right side of the road is not common sense. It is a learned behavior that we just don't remember going through the learning process. And I think about how this idea of common sense being learned ties into recovery. Because when we're looking at our kids thinking like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? That's our opportunity to use the same skills that help us break free from the grip of it's the same skill set, bro. The same skill set helps in these moments with our kids as it does in these moments when we are putting in the work for our recovery. When the pull shows up And the inner addict, the inner child, the inner critic's like, hey, something's wrong. We need to go get a dopamine fix. Let's go get let's go get on the web, go to the address, go to the website, get our fix.
Yeah.
So here's a story. Okay. Story from, actually, we're going to go back into the archive for a story. Think about something that every human being understands this. Gravity, right? What goes up must come down, right? I let go of something, it falls. Right. It doesn't matter whether I do it over here, right? Do it from up higher, do it from that. Like, if you let go of something that's not on the ground, it will fall until it hits something that stops it. Well, as a young father of 27, I remember sitting at the dining room table with my firstborn son, sitting in his high chair. And y'all, I don't know if anybody else out there experienced this, but I was not equipped to be a father when I became a father. You know, it was like I read all the books, thought I knew what I was doing, you know, had all the training and programming from growing up. But when I hit reality, just like I think what Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? Everybody has a plan until they get punched. I was getting punched so hard as a brand new father. And one of the biggest things that would trigger me, that would set me off, was my son sitting in his high chair, dropping food off of his tray. Picking up a carrot, dropping it off the high chair, the tray. Picking up his spoon, right? Dropping it off the high chair. Words cannot express the amount of rage and frustration I felt. To the point where, now, y'all, I do not recommend this, but like the books that I read, the way I was programmed growing up, I grew up in a cult. The way I was programmed to raise kids was like basically like you're training a child similar to how you would train a dog. Right. Like, no, pop. I was all set to get a wooden, spare the rod, spoil the child. I was all set to get a wooden spoon and pop him on the hand every time he drops some food over the side. Because in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not right. This is not right. I don't want my kid to grow up to be a slob, dropping food off his tray when he's 30. Right. Like, really? You think you'd like, if a grown ass man is dropping food off his tray when he's 30, there is something else going on. Right. There is something else going on. It's not because they're rebellious or trying to be mean or ugly. There's something else going on. And in my head, I was like, I have to start training my son. And my wife, the soul of patience, she understood so much more about children than I did. And I'm so grateful for her. She has saved my life in more ways than one over the past 20 years. Because what I know now about what my son was doing is my son was learning about gravity. My son was experimenting. He's like, when I push this off the side of the tray, it disappears. And I hear a plop sound. When he's like, that's interesting. What happens if I do it on the other side? Oh, same thing. What happens if I do it with this other food? Oh, same thing. What happens if I pick it up and drop it? Same thing. What happens if I do it with my spoon, right? A 1-year-old doesn't understand gravity like a 40-year-old, like a 25-year-old. We take it for granted. Everybody understands gravity, but we're not born that way. We're not born with this understanding of how gravity works. Every time you let go of something, it's going to fall. My 1-year-old, 2-year-old, all of my kids, I got better with each kid. More and more understanding. It's like, oh, they're experimenting with gravity. Now I have to clean up the mess. But that realization that my children are just experimenting, learning the rules of the game. This is not rebellion. This is not them acting out. This is not disrespectful. This is my child learning systems and how the world works. At age 1, 2, just with gravity. That's one example with food. Right? Now, fast forward to this morning. This morning, trash day in my house. And guess whose job it is to take the trash bins out to the street? Same son, who's 18 at this point. And guess what did not happen last night? Trash bins did not get out to the street. So this morning, I wake up. Now, we got 6 people in my family, 4 kids, me, my wife. I work from home. We got the boys' friends come over all the time. Like, there's a lot that happens at our house. So Amazon shows up. We got boxes that just kind of procreate around our house. So we have 2 recycle bins and 2 trash bins. They're not full every week, but some weeks they're all full. And this week, both trash bins were full. And I thought, okay, they didn't get out last night. I'm just going to remind my son this morning when I let the dogs go in his room after I get them out. I'm like, hey, son, just a reminder, trash day. And I'm not going to be home for the next hour and a half. So this is the only opportunity I have to remind you. Love you. I'm out. I got home about an hour and a half later. And y'all already know what I'm going to say. Trash bins are not out at the street yet. And I'm thinking, okay, we haven't missed trash pickup yet, but by the time you hear the trash truck, it's too late to rush them out to the street. You've already missed it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking like, okay, how do I handle this? How do I handle this without being the overbearing, aggressive, angry? What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Get them out to the street right now. So I just mentioned it to my son, like, hey, just checking in on the trash. And of course, he being 18, he's like, oh, Dad, yes, I know it's trash day. I have an alarm set for 5 minutes from now. I'm thinking like, okay, good to go. Because I realized this morning after having some interaction with my son, it's like my son is still learning the ropes of life. He's still learning how to navigate, right? I don't blame him for taking the trash out at 8 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. All I want is the trash bins to be out at the street before the truck goes by. And most of the time, he's really good about getting them out. And just today, I had this internal freak out moment for a moment. I started to do I come down hard? Like, okay, no, I'm not going to come down hard. I paused and I thought, okay, my son is testing and experimenting about when he has to get the trash bins out in order to successfully get this chore accomplished. And he got it done successfully. He got the trash bins out. Trash truck came by, picked him up, all good. There are also times where I ask him, it's like, hey, what system are you using to help you remember to do this?
Right.
And in this case, he had an alarm set. And he's probably been paying, my assumption is he's been paying attention. He's like, okay, the trash truck never comes by before this time. So I'm going to set an alarm for this time. And as long as I get him out when the alarm goes off, unless something crazy happens and the trash trucks come by super early, which they almost never do, we're going to be okay. And I'm super proud of him, actually. And actually, I haven't said that to him. And now that I think about it, after we record this, I'm going to go say, hey, man, I just wanted to give you some kudos and acknowledge and appreciate your responsibility for having an alarm set, getting it done. I'm sorry I came across as the overbearing, micromanaging, my dad is trying to control my life guy. It was not my intention. And that these 2 separate moments, 18 years apart almost with my son, reminds me that when I look at my kids and I'm thinking like, don't you have any common sense? Because honestly, I did think that a little bit this morning with my son, like, oh my gosh, my son dropped the ball, doesn't have any common sense, doesn't have the sense to set an alarm on his phone, set a timer, set a reminder to get the trash out. And guess what? He already had. It just was past what my threshold of comfort was, but still within the threshold of success to get it done successfully. And this process so I kind of succeeded, I kind of failed with the actual implementation of the recovery skill of pausing, asking myself what's really going on, using the Father's Freedom Framework, using the, well, actually, let me walk through it, right? how you can apply this as a dad. Right, Matt, help me out with the 4-rack formula. Okay,
Yeah.
what's number one?
Remember the pain.
Remember the pain, y'all. It is painful instigating conflict with teenagers. It is painful. It is painful. It's pain. And I was thinking about it, it's like, okay, times where I have gotten all aggressive and been like, hey, you have to do this because I said so. Because I'm the boss. And I have the authority and the power in this situation. I pay the bills, you do what I say, right? That kind of construct, that just generates conflict and pain. So I was able to remember it in this moment. So I remembered the pain of what previous conversations have been like.
Refocus on the paradise.
Refocus on the paradise. What do I want? I want a son who turns into a fully functioning, responsible man. That's what I want.
And a healthy relationship with your son, I would venture to say.
Yeah, and I want a healthy relationship with my son. That's what I want. Right? I don't want him to freak out when he sees my name on the caller ID. Or who am I kidding? He's not going to answer the phone. When he sees my name in a text message. Right? When I said, hey, man, you want to have lunch on Friday? I don't want him to freak out. Because as much as I love my dad, part of me still freaks out just a little bit when my dad says, hey, you want to have lunch on Thursday? I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? What happened?
Yep.
I'm gonna get a dad talk on this lunch. Right? I want to have this healthy relationship with my son, and I want him to be able to navigate the world as a fully functioning, healthy man when he's 25, 35, 45. He's not going to have me around to say, hey, reminder, trash day is tomorrow. Right? Refocus on the paradise. That's what I really want.
Resolve to your commitment.
Resolve to my commitment. It's like my kid isn't rebellious. He's just untrained in this skill. He hasn't gotten all of the reps in. And part of me has to let him fail. It's like if he doesn't get the stuff out in time, it's like, well, now what? Now what do you do? Because we got to do something because both trash bins are full. We got to figure out how to get this stuff to the dump so we can, put trash or bag it up somehow. Now there's extra work to be done. My commitment is to pause and figure out and maintain open communication with my son. That's my commitment, is to not damage my relationship with my son. That is more important than getting the trash out on time.
Right.
That's more important than that.
Reflect on what you're needing. Fourth R.
Reflect on what I'm needing. Okay. So in this situation, right, with my son, right, what do we need in this situation? Well, my son needs a system that he can use for the trash to get out successfully. It turns out he had one. I just didn't know about it.
Yep.
Because surprise, surprise, teenage boys don't always tell their parents what's up.
Yeah. I'd also venture to say, Yaden, like if you're tuning into this system for yourself, like what are you needing? Like I think it is fair to say, hey, like this is an important thing for our family that the trash gets out. Yeah. And I need to know that he's got this covered. And, we're not going to be sitting with the trash bins full for the next week here. Like I need to know that he's got this covered too.
Yeah, I think that's valid. Yeah. And now that you bring it up, that is a valid need I have. Like when I got up this morning, the trash bins were not out at the road. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. In my head, I was like, something went wrong because from what my memory is, he normally gets them out the night before. So what happened? And is he on this? Is he on top of this responsibility that he has? Mm-hmm. And that is something I need. Or I don't know if need is, that is something I want. And I don't think it's unreasonable for me to ask that. Since I'm the one paying the mortgage. It's like, let your supervisor know that you got the work handled so they don't freak out when they see it's not done when they thought it was already going to be done.
Exactly.
Let them know.
Exactly.
So I will reflect on that and I will bring that up. Yeah.
So ask yourself what else. So maybe the instinct is to freak out, is to snap, is to be overbearing, right? Is to control. Like what else could be an appropriate or healthy, helpful action here?
Something that I've learned for myself, and this is from a book that we read in the Noble Council one of these months last year, is the power of systems.
Mhm.
right? So the conversation I'm going to have with my son to figure out what system is actually working right now. What system is working right now? So this morning, the system that was working is this is not done. I don't know why. I'm freaking out. I need it to get done. And I was just in confusion and uncertainty. And it's like, I don't know what's going on. I love my son. I trust my son, but I also know he's 18. Our brains forget things. And I don't know what system he's using to remind himself to make sure that this gets done.
Right.
That's what I was asking myself. So in this situation, I'm gonna sit down and say, hey, son, what system do you routinely use to make sure the trash is out?
Yeah.
What is your system to make that happen? And when he tells me, if he tells me, my brain, I'll be like, oh, that is probably the worst system you could use
Right.
to actually get it done. Now, it's a valid system, but half the time, trusting your brain to remember things is going to get you the results of you forget, because our brains are slippery. And so ask myself, what else? What else do I need? What else does my son need in this situation? What system will help you remember? What system can we use so that I have confidence it's going to happen and I don't fall into overbearing dad mode?
Yep.
Right?
Beautiful. And I feel like you've just kind of spoken to it, but it's like choose the behavior, take the action. Choose the behavior.
Take the action. And this is twofold, right? So let's say the trash truck went by and the trash didn't go out. Well, what my actions are in those situations where stuff doesn't happen the way it needs to happen, kind of similarly to what we do in recovery, where I put on my detective hat and said, hey man, what system were you using to get this done? Because whatever system you were using got the output of it didn't happen. So that system seems to be not really a good system to actually get the work done.
Yep.
Let's try another system next week. Well, the system I tried this week was I was just gonna, when I went to bed last night, I was like, in the morning when I wake up, I'm gonna take the trash out. That was my system. Like, okay. The output of that system was the trash didn't get taken out in time. So let's try another system. Now, his system this time was he had an alarm set and his system worked. The trash got out in time. Success. His system got the output that we needed.
Yeah.
But for me, choose this new behavior is I think about it as what system is going on. Very much like what we talk about in recovery. If you reset your tracker, if you relapse, it's not because you're a terrible person. It's because your defense failed somewhere.
Yeah.
The system failed somewhere. And let's fix that piece of the system and take the next step.
Yep. In quick point here, if I may, for those that are tuning in, like maybe they're familiar with 4-rack, maybe they're familiar with the recovery journey, maybe they're familiar with our conversations here, maybe they're newer to it. Like, what does this system or this process, like, how does it relate to the recovery journey or your recovery journey? Like, what's the correlation you see here?
The correlation I see is the correlation for me, the biggest one is the pause when the emotions flare. That's it. Yep. It is my capacity to sit with the uncomfortableness. This morning, I get up, look outside, trash bins aren't taken out. That is uncomfortable. I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, trash isn't taken out. If we miss it, then we're going to have to, bag up the trash and take it to the dump somehow. And I don't think the dump is even open on Wednesday and blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. Just my brain starts spinning a mile a minute. My emotions flare up. Not unlike when I'm triggered somewhere, the story starts spinning in my head, classic dad story of unwanted, unloved, uncared for, undesired. The emotions are squeezing my chest. And that inner addict's like, you feel like crap. We got to do something about this. .com, 7 characters, and we can get a fix and make this pain go away.
Yep.
Well, I see the trash bins out there. It's like, you know what I can do right now to get a dopamine hit? I can go kick my son's door in, drag him out of bed and say, look, numbnuts, get this stuff out to the street right now so that I can close this window in my brain and I can be comfortable. It's I'm making it all about me.
Yep.
Instead of, just like with the addiction, just like with the, like, okay, what's actually going on? I remember the pain and I'm focused on what I want with freedom. What's that? What do I actually need right now? Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired,
Right.
fidgety? What's going on? Oh, I'm tired. I need a nap. That's what I actually need. Not a fix.
Right.
Choosing to take a nap to meet that need healthy. With my son, emotions flare. It's like, what do I need? I need my son to grow in his responsibility as a man. That's what I need. That's what I want. How can I make that happen? Well, if I'm micromanaging him all the time, he's never going to become self-sufficient. He's going to be trapped in, well, nobody told me, so I didn't do it. So I have to let him fail if that's what it takes, and be there to help him do the extra work if he does fail. So does that help tie it in?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Like
the recovery and the parenting skills. They're different circumstances, but it's the same internal process that I go through.
Yeah, I love that.
One.
Yeah.
The same one. So, brother, if you're out there and if you have not gotten the Father's Freedom Framework download yet, get over on our website, therecovereddad.com. Resources is the upper left-hand corner. You can download the Freedom Framework resource, which has this 4-rack formula outline in it.
Yeah.
And, start doing the work. If you want to talk with Matt or me about what the Liberation Bootcamp looks like to really turbocharge building this skill, building this muscle of recovery from and just recovery in general to build better relationships.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk with you more, brother.
Yeah.
Because our family, our children are worth it. And the time goes by so fast. I do not have as much time as I thought I did.
Yeah. Beautiful share, Yaden. Thank you for bringing the story to us. And man, thank you for tuning in here with us today. Head on over to therecovereddad.com. Check out Father's Freedom Framework. Check out Liberation Bootcamp. Learn more about the community. We'd love to talk with you.
Matt, Yaden, we'll see you next time behind the microphone. Brothers out there, peace, power,
peace, power.
Noble men.
Noble men. Thanks, guys.